Hi, everyone. Happy to be here today. My name is Katie Hodgen. My pronouns are she, her, and I am the National Content Advisor for Family Engagement here at Healthier Generation. I will pass it to Josephine.
Hi, everyone. My name is Josephine Thomason, and I am a nutrition advisor with Healthier Generation. And my pronouns are she, her, and hers. And I'm happy to be here with everyone. And I will turn it over to Ashley.
Hi, everyone. It's great to be here today. My name is Ashley Ross, and my pronouns are she and her. I am the Partnership Engagement Manager and Registered Dietitian at Common Threads.
Thank you, everyone. So as you've just learned, today's webinar will be co-presented by folks from both Healthier Generation and Common Threads. Our mission at HG is to help kids develop lifelong healthy habits by ensuring the environments that surround them support their physical, social, and emotional health. And we do this by equipping youth champions through training, technical assistance, and capacity building. Common Threads provides children and families cooking and nutrition education to encourage healthy habits that contribute to wellness. So HG and Common Threads have been partners for a long time, and with our work being so complementary, we thought today's webinar would be a great opportunity just to co-create and collaborate together. So we're really excited. So to start us off, the intentions of today's webinar are as follows. Number one, understand the benefits of cooking and family mealtime as opportunities to inspire kids to cook. 2, learn how to create simple, healthy meals and snacks. 3, share strategies to support families through food and nutrition resources and meal preparation ideas. And finally, making a plan that works for you. Each of these are really important as we seek to find and sustain our efforts in feeding children nutritionally and helping them to cook. Through these intentions we've set today, we'll hope you will feel equipped and supported in your efforts. As we dive in, let's take a very quick movement break. Short movement breaks are a great way to reset and refocus our energy. And so for this activity, we'll practice some neck rolls. So simply lean your head to the left, drop your chin towards your chest, bring your right ear towards your right shoulder, and then repeat. Eventually, you can switch directions. And if you need to adapt this movement, feel free to just close your eyes, take a few deep breaths just to reset. And I invite you to do this at any time throughout today's presentation. So now that we've quickly reset our focus, let's dive in. So first, we share our gratitude to everyone for your participation in today's webinar, whether you identify as a caregiver, food service professional, educator, or a combination of these things and more. We are just so grateful for the work you do in supporting the overall well-being of the next generation. As we know, children's access to food does not occur in a vacuum. From larger agricultural systems and distribution to local initiatives or grab-and-go food boxes, whether it's preparing food in your own kitchen, we all play really important roles. So, as you all are familiar with using the chat box now, I'd love to ask you, what role do you play in feeding children nutritiously and helping kids to cook? It could be your job title, it could be another way you self-identify. You might be a caregiver, both at home or at work. Feel free to use the chat box to respond. Let's see, caregiver, awesome. Watching my grandkids, beautiful. SNAP Ed educator. Program advisor, wow, we have a really diverse group of folks here. I love to see it. Parent and wellness coach. Healthy schools coordinator. Love this. Awesome. It's great to see so many different folks here. And please keep the chat box coming. I'm going to keep going, but I just want everyone to be able to see. So what we're going to be focusing on today is how different roles can support feeding children nutritiously and making it easy for kids to cook. And we recognize that your role in this venture may overlap across many titles. For example, you could be a member of the food service team, but you care for your family of your own. You may be a caregiver that volunteers at a community organization. This really excites us, and we hope you can learn several best practices and tips to support all of your efforts today. So to kick us off, I'm going to pass it over to, I'm going to pass it over to Katie.
Thank you, Abby, for passing it over. So before we dive into cooking with kids today, that I know is an exciting topic, I'd really like to highlight the benefits of family meals and helping kids develop these lifelong healthy eating habits. So sharing family meals routinely can increase healthy behaviors and is a great opportunity to connect with each other and with loved ones. Having a family routine such as mealtime is especially important during times of uncertainty and stress because predictable routines increase feelings of safety and stability. So something we can probably all relate to right now. All right, so another benefit of family meals is to connect over fun conversation. So I'd really like to hear from you all now, and you can find some conversation starters and more tips for group mealtime in the Making the Most of Mealtime resource from Healthier Generation and Kohl's, which we will provide to you after our session today. So in the meantime, I'd love to hear from you on this conversation starter. What is your favorite song right now and why? So go ahead and use the chat box feature again and chat to all participants if you feel so inclined so that we can really share our favorite songs right now and maybe get a good playlist recommendation going. What's your favorite song right now and why? I know that they are some oldies, but I've been really into Queen lately, so Freddie Mercury and just really positive, sort of empowering songs. Looks like anything that makes me dance, yes, totally. Anything that gives me energy, gets me up and moving. Any John Prine song? Great. Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, yes. I actually really like the music and the songs that come with Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. So good for all ages. Daft Punk, ooh, that's a good one. Praise and worship songs, awesome 80s, yes. Dance Monkey, yes. Again, the dancing just really gives me a good energy boost. Taylor Swift, Adele. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing. And hopefully music provides some positive benefits to you too, and you can chat about that maybe over a group meal. All right, so let's talk about some evidence-based strategies for supporting lifelong healthy eating habits, including modeling healthy behaviors for kids, making healthy choices convenient, considering different needs, and involving youth in cooking and food decisions. Let's dive in. All right, so when it comes to modeling healthy behaviors or making healthy food choices in front of others, this is one of the best ways that you can encourage kids to make similar behaviors, including healthy food choices. So adults can model these healthy eating habits for children by speaking positively about healthy foods that they like, as well as eating and sharing healthy foods with them. It's also important to avoid using food as a reward or a punishment. Doing so helps minimize power struggles and allows kids the opportunity to learn to love different foods on their own. Here's a few resources that you'll see here that can support modeling healthy behaviors for nutrition and beyond that we will share with you after today's session. So you can see some resources for modeling healthy food, physical activity, and ways that staff can be really positive role models for each other and for youth. All right, so another great trick that I love personally that encourages healthy choices is to keep nutritious foods in easily accessible locations. At home, for example, foods like bananas can be kept on the countertop and string cheese can be kept at eye level in the refrigerator. When both kids and adults see these healthy options very easily in their environment, they're more likely to grab one for a quick snack and model that healthy choice for anyone who's around and watching. So for more budget-friendly and quick tips for healthy eating choices, you can access free English and Spanish resources at kohlshealthyathome.org. So we really encourage you to share these resources and these ideas with families in your community. Okay, so let's talk about some important considerations as well. It's important to keep in mind that communities may experience different environmental barriers to healthy eating, but families, schools, and local organizations can work together to improve healthy food access. So what needs might you consider when encouraging kids to eat healthfully? Use that chat box again. We'll get the ideas flowing and share those. And just some that we have thought of are listed here, like considering different folks' access to healthy food, including availability and cost, availability of kitchen appliances at their disposal, different utilization and food preferences, supervision requirements, capabilities. What else might you consider when you're thinking about different needs and really serving your own family and the families in your community? Any other needs coming to mind? Allergies, oh my gosh, such an important one. And I know a very common consideration to keep in mind, making sure food is safe, and we're going to definitely talk about food safety later today in the session. What's in season? Yes. Child preferences, absolutely. I am a self-diagnosed picky eater, and I always have been since I was a kid, so definitely relate to individual preferences, no mold, culture, absolutely. Yeah, so just encourage everyone to keep those in mind as we are working to engage families and support families, whether it be our own or those in the community. So thank you so much for taking the time to point those out and consider these different needs. Okay, so we know that kids of any age can benefit from participating in cooking meals and making food choices. At home, school, and everywhere in between, students can have opportunities to share what their favorite foods are and participate in the brainstorming process of ways they can make their own healthy snacks and meals. And this really can help out caregivers too, right? So independent cooking, cooking with the family, lots of benefits. So some practical ways that you can explore involving kids and teens in food decisions include maybe creating a what's for dinner poll, like the one shown here, where people can vote on what they want for a meal. Maybe asking kids to help make grocery lists and perform age-appropriate cooking tasks, as well as offering cooking classes and taste tests, either virtually or when it's safe in person, to connect staff with families and encourage kids to explore new foods that they may not have otherwise tried. So just some ideas there for involving kids more, involving families, and I will now pass it over to Ashley to walk us through some tips and tricks for cooking with kids.
All right, we'll get started cooking with kids. So at Common Threads, we know it's something that many of us enjoy, but aren't always able to do, to cook healthy meals and snacks to enjoy with our family. For so many families, cooking a healthy meal might be too time-consuming or simply too overwhelming for a variety of reasons. And our goal is to acknowledge those barriers and provide real solutions. So let's start with the why. Cooking at home is more economical, will help your child develop a healthy attitude with food and encourage curiosity, and allows opportunities to control what ingredients are used. So prepackaged foods and eating out are definitely convenient, but convenience does have a cost. Making meals at home is a cost-effective way to eat healthy. Buying pantry staples in bulk to stock your pantry with shelf-stable healthy foods like canned goods, whole grain products, nut seeds can really set up your cooking adventures for success affordably. When children are involved in preparing food, they're more likely to eat and enjoy it. When kids develop healthy grocery shopping, cooking, and meal and snack habits with you, they'll be more inclined to keep those healthy habits when they grow up. And when kids participate in the kitchen, they experience real-world application of math, science, and language arts. And cooking skills really help your child develop a healthy attitude towards food and encourages curiosity. And we know that a child gains cultural identity, memories, and pride when cooking. And recipes can be passed down in our family from generation to generation. And it's just a beautiful thing to bring families together in the kitchen. So cooking at home also allows you to control and customize the ingredients that are making their way to your family's table. So you can easily make substitutions for more healthful ingredients and substitutions for allergies. Common allergens like milk, eggs, wheat, nuts, and tree nuts can be found in packaged foods or in restaurant meals, even if you don't think that the ingredient would be, making it imperative to review ingredient lists of packaged food items for individuals who have food allergies to these ingredients. And so by preparing meals and snacks at home, you can customize your recipe to be allergen-free. So next we'll talk about the benefits of cooking with kids at home. And there are many benefits that result when kids are engaged in the kitchen. Experiential learning is critical for knowledge and skill retention and having the confidence to cook on their own as they get older. So first we'll start with educational benefits. Kids gain skills in STEM and math through measuring, interpreting ingredients, and dividing into portions. We spend quality time together. Cooking together can be a bonding experience and build lifelong memories. Another benefit of cooking at home includes cooking skills that help your child develop a healthy attitude towards food. Enthusiasm for cooking. Cooking is fun. Just like when kids participate in enrichment or sports activities, they develop interests and passions. And one day, who knows, maybe they'll be a top chef. You learn beyond the table. Learning opportunities are endless when we teach children about life skills. Planning ahead, selecting ingredients, weighing produce, learning about budgeting and money when grocery shopping, all through the steps of bringing food to the table. And then lastly, it's an opportunity to explore, engage our senses. There's preparing and eating food engages all 5 senses. Think about when engaging your kids to listen to the sound of a mixer, the feeling of kneading dough, watching it rise, smelling it when it bakes in the oven, and then finally getting to taste the final product when making a recipe. This is something I really enjoy with my kids. I have a 3- and 6-year-old, and when Abby did the question in the beginning, how old were you all when you started cooking? I did hear her say a lot of really young ages, and I really enjoy cooking with my kids. They are little, and we'll talk a little bit more about what activities you can do with little ones in the kitchen since they're not quite ready for true cooking a little bit later. But my kids, I can tell you, the sensory element is really strong. My kids, for those of you who have kids or care for kids in the room, you might know that slime is a very popular toy with kids. My kids love slime, and that feeling that they get playing with slime, it's the kitchen. They love kneading dough. They love playing the stickiness of dough. They love mixing ingredients and feeling different textures. And so there's a huge sensory element that kids really benefit from when cooking in the kitchen. All right, next, let's take a look at the following questions. So you can share in the chat box, out of the 6 questions, how many you strongly agree with. Just take a quick stab. Hopefully you can see the questions. Okay, 3 of the 6, 3. Okay, 5 to 6. Okay, so half or the majority, and that's great. So we ask these questions at the beginning of our parent-focused and family programming, really to help individuals determine where they stand with cooking and their kids in the kitchen. Is it something that they want to start doing, that they do already? How does it go for them? And opportunities to showcase how they cook with their kids at home. And so really what I hope that you take away from today is if you are thinking about cooking with your kids more, spending more time in the kitchen, cooking at home, that we give you the tools and resources to do that, and that you would be able to agree with these statements by the end of the presentation. All right, so let's dive into some tips and tricks for cooking with kids at home. So cooking is a big undertaking, even without involving children. But as a mother, again, of a 3- and 6-year-old, I always come back to these tips before I get started engaging with them in the kitchen. So take it slow. It is not a sprint, it's a marathon. So allow your children to get comfortable mastering small skills at a time. Be safe. That's really huge here. Safety is very important when cooking with kids. Kitchens can be very dangerous places. Practice safe food handling and proper hand washing. Plan ahead. This is really important, and it's very different for me than being prepared. Planning ahead is really thinking about the recipes that you would like to make, creating meal plans, creating grocery lists, designating time to shop, prep, and clean up when cooking with your kids. Be prepared, or mise en place, which is French for putting in place, is another great way to be ready to cook with your kids in the kitchen. It's a culinary process in which ingredients are prepared and organized. Having the cooking area prepped with equipment needed, ingredients needed will benefit you greatly when cooking with kids. And I have a picture here of this is just the ingredients needed for a yogurt parfait, simply to layer the yogurt and the different fruits already cut up. Again, for those little ones, having that set up and ready to go makes things a lot easier than getting everything ready while your kids are with you. I find that that's really beneficial. It makes cooking fun and less chaotic. So encourage and monitor. So as you cook together, remember to engage those senses, to touch, smell, and taste key ingredients. Use positive reinforcement when your children learn a new skill or improve on a skill they've been working on. Be patient. It really does take time to teach and learn and develop good habits, and it will be messy and it will take longer, especially in the beginning. So just give instructions slowly, one at a time, and you know your kids best and you know how they will do working in the kitchen with you. But don't forget to enjoy this time. Sing, dance, tell stories, laugh while in the kitchen. This is an amazing time to spend quality time with your family. And don't forget to have your kids help you clean up as well. That's an important skill to teach them. All right, moving on, because kitchen safety is so important, I wanted to take a little bit of a deeper dive. So at Common Threads, we offer many chef-led programs for students and families, and they're designed for 3rd through 8th graders. So we actually don't do cooking programs with kiddos who are younger than that 8 or 9 year old, just because of safety and their development ability and to use knives and be safe in the kitchen. But for those 3rd graders and above, we do teach knife skills and safety, different cutting techniques. You can actually see demonstrated here the bear claw, plank slice and dice, and then the rock and chop. So these are great ways to show kids different cutting techniques while also keeping those fingers safe. Food safety and sanitation are also emphasized and maintained throughout our program. So you can actually see the cooking temperatures here. So cooking meat in particular to a minimum internal temperature is critical to prevent foodborne illness. And so this is something to keep in mind always when you're cooking at home. And then lastly, when preparing foods at home, especially when sharing a meal with guests who may not live in your household, where allergies may be unknown or food preferences may be, you may not be aware of them, definitely we encourage kids to have discussions to ensure that they're providing a meal that meets the dietary preferences and any, in consideration of any allergens that individuals may have when preparing a meal for others. All right, so getting started. So as I mentioned previously, there's so many educational and sensory benefits to cooking with your kids, thus making your kitchen a classroom. And keep in mind that every child is different. Even between my 2 kids, they operate very differently and require different guidance and supervision. And some will have more interest and abilities in developing skills in the kitchen compared to others. It's really about building, starting where they're at, building on the skill set one at a time and adding more. And even young kids can be engaged safely with guidance and supervision. And as your kids get older, and they can be more and more involved with different tasks. So while it might seem like a big undertaking, I want my key message today to be that it doesn't have to be. We can really take things slow, step by step, and especially if you're engaging younger kids, some of those things we do at Common Threads, we highlight simply tearing lettuce. You know, we don't need to use knives to do a lot of culinary prep. We can have the kids tearing lettuce. Smashing garlic, one of the things I always have my kids do is they just take the garlic cloves and I put them in a plastic bag, and we have those little mallets that you even use for seafood, and my kids will just use a little hammer to smash down the garlic, and they love it. They just think it's the coolest thing. As I mentioned earlier as well, they love kneading dough, stirring things, scooping melons. Again, you would want to have an adult cut the melon, but taking an ice cream scoop and scooping out the fruit, the watermelon, is a great way for them to participate in the food preparation without using a knife. And you can actually easily make a nice little watermelon ice cream sundae with those watermelon scoops. Having them add and measure ingredients, and then of course, like I said, engage them in cleaning up. That's important too. Ingrain, you know, as they start out on their culinary adventures. And then as you see, as you get older, hopping over to the other side, you can really build on cooking skills. And so those nice skills and techniques I showed you on the kitchen safety slide, having them get out the recipe ingredients from where they're located in the kitchen, again, referencing that mise en place, using some kitchen appliances, again, with adult supervision when you're adding in that heat element, just determining if that is safe given the age of the child and their abilities, and then cleaning up. All right, so next, I just wanted to highlight this goal tracker. This is something that we actually have that you can download, or you could make your own goal tracker. So if you're working with your kids in the kitchen on different skills, you could highlight those skills and indicate when the child has achieved them. You could assign a incentive for achieving that goal, something that they've been wanting for a while or something they've been wanting to do. You know, as they work through achieving their culinary skills, there's an opportunity to track that and highlight that and celebrate their accomplishments. Okay, so next I just kind of want to walk everyone through some resources we have at Common Threads. Again, our mission really is rooted in bringing families together in the kitchen to enjoy healthy family meals. And so we've created a lot of resources to help support our mission. And our resources are designed to increase nutrition and culinary knowledge, change attitudes towards healthy eating, increase confidence in the kitchen, and to motivate the adoption of healthy behaviors. So I'm going to walk you through a few of our resources so you can see and utilize when cooking with your children at home. So first we'll start with Common Bites. So Common Bites is our resource hub featuring hundreds of budget-friendly healthy recipes, including entrees, sides, kids snacks, sweets, and healthy beverages. Our recipes are made with cost, nutrition, availability, and culture in mind, and many of our recipes are also available in Spanish. Each recipe includes nutrition information, cultural facts, and nutrition tips. And Common Bites also features games for kids, nutrition resources, and educational lesson plans for facilitators of our Small Bites nutrition program, which I'll talk a little bit about in a minute. And our Common Bites also features recipe videos, culinary videos, and videos on recipes, cooking skills, and how food grows. Okay, so next we'll look at our learning portal hosted on the Learning Management System SkillJar. It houses our educational resources for teachers. This includes interactive trainings to empower educators to be healthy role models and how to facilitate Common Threads curriculum. We also host webinars, and the recordings are available for viewing on our Learning Hub and on various topics that promote health and wellness in communities. And lastly, we have resource downloads available for free that you can use to print off or to feature in your classroom or at home. So now I will walk through a few of those resources that are available. So we like to create resources that we know our partners and our schools and families are looking for, and we like to have fun. We want to make food fun, cooking fun, healthy eating fun. And so we recently, Valentine's was just a couple weeks ago, and every year we create our food pun Valentines, where they have a cute little food pun on the front, and then they have a corresponding recipe on the back. Something super easy to download and print off. Kids can exchange the Valentine. They could even make the healthy snack recipe for that special someone they're sharing the Valentine with. Again, we really enjoy making resources for kids to have fun with and get them excited about cooking. We also have a series of nutrition education and recipe videos that are linked on our resource pages, but also we do have a YouTube channel, and these videos, the nutrition videos, are educational, and they're actually aligned to different specific grade levels. So there's appropriate nutrition content based on grade level. And our recipe videos, I'm sure you see if you scroll through your social media feeds, those sort of BuzzFeed tasty style recipe videos. We've started to do those. They're a great way to showcase an entire recipe in about a minute or less. The process of making that recipe so you can preview it. We also have recipe guides and workbooks that you can download that include a lot of great educational resources as well as recipe ideas. And we do have a blog where we feature nutrition and culinary topics. It varies and sort of aligns with events through the year, like holiday eating or, the Valentine's food puns, things like that. And I just wanted to show you too, something that we work really hard on is creating kid-focused resources to help enhance their experience. Having resources that are developmentally appropriate for younger children really is critical for their success in the kitchen. Again, I'm cooking with a 3- and 6-year-old, so my 3-year-old is not reading. My 6-year-old is learning to read. So having illustrated recipes or recipes with step-by-step photos are a great tool to engage those younger kids in the kitchen, helping them visualize what we're going to be making since they're not able to read the words that are in a recipe yet. Okay, and then as I mentioned previously, all of our recipes are available on our resource hub, commonbites.org, but I wanted to highlight a few recipes within each category so you can see the variety of recipes, again, that are all developed with cost, nutrition, and culture in mind. Hopefully this will leave you inspired today, or, it's 3:30 Eastern, so you might be getting a little hungry for dinner, and these pictures probably won't help because they are very appetizing. So I'll start with our entrees. So here's just a little preview of our entree recipes on Common Bite. Here's a few side dishes. These are our sweets. So we like to say it's sweet to be healthy, and so we love to have dessert recipes that are fruit-based and a fun way to, satisfy that sweet tooth in a healthy way, and kids love these recipes as well. Our healthy beverages. And then kid-friendly healthy snacks. So I wanted to spend a little bit more time here because this is, as I walked through the presentation today, I hope that you took away that, it's taking it slow, getting started, is being prepared, all the benefits and tips and tricks that we talked about. And I wanted to highlight that these recipes that we have on Common Bites that are kid-friendly healthy snacks are a great place to start. They are knife-free, heat-free. They have only 3 to 4 ingredients, so kids can easily assemble them themselves, and they're just fun. Kids really enjoy making these snacks in our programs, and so we know that they're tried and true recipes and fun ways for kids to get cooking in the kitchen and building those skills. Okay, and then lastly, I just wanted to talk about the programs that we offer. So as Katie mentioned, you might be seeking participating in a cooking class, hopefully when it's safe to do so in person or virtually. We do offer cooking programs right now virtually to our 12 markets, which are listed in the bottom left-hand slide. So we have Small Bites Nutrition Education. We also have chef-led cooking classes, cooking skills and world cuisine, and family cooking classes. And again, they are being offered virtually at this time due to COVID-19. But if you are interested in cooking classes virtually and you're in one of these, located in one of these markets, definitely feel free to reach out or connect with the resources when the presentation is sent out. We'd love to connect with you and see if that's something that we could provide. And then I wanted to share, if you're not in one of those 12 markets, but you're really excited about getting your kids excited about cooking in the kitchen, we've made our Small Bites available on demand. So our adapted version allows students to self-pace themselves through the nutrition education content, which is hosted on the learning platform Nearpod. Watch engaging, grade level specific educational videos, learn how to make a healthy snack recipe, and complete off-screen projects. The course is totally free and available nationwide for students in elementary school, and we are actually about to release a middle school version as well. So this would be a great opportunity to get your kids excited and exposed to healthy eating topics, new recipe ideas, and an opportunity to connect with them in the kitchen. So now that concludes my section, so I'm going to pass it over to Josephine to talk to you about healthy food choices.
Wonderful. Thank you, Ashley. I appreciate you sharing all those awesome and wonderful resources for our participants. And so let's take a look now at what constitutes a nutritious meal and how USDA's MyPlate can help us identify healthy food choices. So I'd like to start our nutrition conversation today by getting your feedback. So what foods do you think could be part or could constitute part of that nutritious meal? This could be breakfast, could be lunch, dinner, or even a healthy snack. Please feel free to, add your responses to the chat box. I look forward to seeing what you think would constitute part of a healthy meal. Whole grains, absolutely. Veggies, love the veggies. And feel free to just keep typing away. I like that. Eating the rainbow, fruits and vegetables, protein. It's really great to see, even outside of fruits and vegetables, that folks are keeping in mind the importance of other food groups, right? Beans, fruits and veggies again. Excellent. Excellent. Thanks for sharing, everyone. So I wanted to share a few statistics with everyone, and according to the CDC, in a 2017 report, fewer than 1 in 10 children and adults ate the recommended daily amounts of vegetables, and only 4 in 10 children and fewer than 1 in 7 adults ate enough fruit. That fruit statistics really surprised me because I just love every type of fruit out there. So in thinking about a nutritious meal, it's one that includes a variety of nutrient-dense foods that promote health. So proper nutrition includes making positive daily food choices, which over time, that translates into a healthy eating habit. So in thinking about healthy food options, I would definitely say for any age, making the right food choices can seem a little daunting sometimes, and which is why using USDA's MyPlate guide can be very helpful. It's important to remember that children, they tend to copy, right, parents' behaviors, as Katie shared. Therefore, parents are encouraged to model healthy behaviors, healthy habits, such as eating fruits and vegetables on a daily basis. So not just once a week, right? And so by working together to create healthy meals, families can build lifelong healthy eating habits together. So making every bite count. Let's go ahead and I'm going to share a little bit. I'm going to talk a little bit about MyPlate. And it's a visual nutrition guide, right, that was developed by USDA to help Americans eat healthier. And as shown in the graphic, it consists of 5 food groups, which you can learn about more by just going to choosemyplate.gov. And remember that all resources will be at the end. And when determining what foods to choose from each category, consider the following recommendations. So try making half your plate fruits and vegetables. And a good start is by making the vegetables the star of the plate, and then selecting foods, right, from other food groups that complement the vegetable, and taking a look at some of those wonderful recipes that Ashley shared and kind of applying this concept, right? Now, all forms of fruits and vegetables count to include fresh, frozen, and canned. One interesting thing is that there's a myth around frozen and canned foods, and that it's less nutritious than their fresh counterparts. However, many fruits and vegetables are processed just right after harvesting, thus retaining their nutrients. So if fresh produce is not accessible, especially if maybe a specific item that you're wanting to eat, then consider the frozen or the canned options. Another way to make everybody count is by making half your grains whole grains. When it comes to making that switch to whole grains, substitute a whole grain product for a refined grain one. And for example, substituting brown rice in place of white rice. Whole grains, of course, they're higher in fiber and other essential nutrients when compared to their enriched refined options. One way to kind of make sure that you are selecting a whole grain is by reading that ingredient list. So looking for whole, that word whole as part of the first ingredient. For example, whole wheat, whole oats, brown rice. And then, making everybody count is also a wonder. This is using MyPlate is a wonderful opportunity to get creative, right? Get creative when you think about meal preparation. And this can be done when thinking about that protein category. How can we select from a variety? So not having that same item, every single day. So selecting a variety of proteins throughout the week to improve that nutrient intake and the health benefits, because they all have different health benefits. So, and including about 8 ounces of cooked seafood per week. One very interesting way to approach that protein category is challenging yourself to go meatless once a week. Having fun with it, right? What kind of recipes can we do that does not contain meat? And when thinking about that category, the dairy category, which we kind of see kind of sequestered off on a little island of its own, consider some optional dairy sources. Let's say for individuals that, they either have a lactose intolerance, they might have a dairy allergy, or other situation where they cannot consume traditional dairy products made from milk, such as cheese and yogurt. Optional choices from the veggie category that are rich in calcium can be used, such as spinach, kale, collards, turnip greens, okra. I absolutely love okra, bok choy, and more. So start today, and remember that even small changes count. So MyPlate Kitchen, USDA, who are the developers of MyPlate, they created a recipe website to help busy families, and it's called MyPlate Kitchen. So this is another resource in addition to all the wonderful ones that Ashley shared. So it's available right on the choosemyplate.gov website. The recipes can easily be searched by the course that you wish to prepare, so whether you're preparing breakfast, snack, or even a main dish. You can also choose by food groups to make it easy to find that star of the plate, that vegetable recipe. as well as based on cooking equipment that is available in your home. Not only are the recipes very easy to prepare, but they also include the nutrition information, and the recipe also contains that recipe contribution to all those 5 food groups. So that makes it easy so when trying to remember and assess what it is that you have on your plate. So when thinking about school meals and dietary guidelines, during the school year, many children, of course, rely on school meals as their primary source of nutrition. School meals are healthier now more than ever, now that there are strict regulations that require that student meals, they must be balanced as well as nutritious. So meals served to students must include healthy selections from the 5 food groups that we talked about just a second ago. And one innovative way schools have chosen to meet dietary guidelines as well as support their local farmers is by incorporating fresh local produce right into their menus. When thinking about the provision of the school meals that I just mentioned, during the school years, during the traditional school year, children will typically eat their meals right at school, right? However, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, many children have been forced to attend class at home remotely. Now, the great news is that the recent legislation has made school meals available to all students at no cost until the end of the 21 school year. So whether they are in school or whether they are taking their classes remotely, they are able to qualify for these free meals. So as a result of this, schools have found really innovative ways to provide meals for students, for all students, including those remotely. And the great news is that whether they're in school or at home, they're receiving those same great nutritious meals and well-balanced meals. So some of the schools, what they have done is, and you probably heard about in the news, the families can come through at certain pickup locations to be able to obtain their meals. Some may get it in bulk, like a box meals for the entire week. And so the school nutrition services at those schools, they make sure that these meals are meeting those strict guidelines from USDA. And although very challenging to try to kind of put this all together, right? It's also proven to be a wonderful opportunity to be able to share nutrition education resources with those families, maybe something that they were not receiving in the past. So in thinking about some of those things that are being shared with families and what needs to be considered, it's important to consider the overall needs of the child participating in the school nutrition programs. And this includes their social emotional health in these uncertain times. So research shows that when students feel connected, right, they are more likely to stay enrolled in school, they're more likely to participate in programs, and they are more likely to make healthier choices, which is why having that connection, that family connection, is so important in modeling those healthy behaviors. So schools can help when thinking about, keeping those students connected, is when sending meals home with students, or just even communicating with those at school, is keeping those open lines of communication. And so as part of keeping those open lines, thinking about how can we communicate to family all the changes that are happening. So maybe including some flyers in those meal boxes that are going home to families that talk about the benefits of school meals, maybe some changes that related to meal pickup so parents know exactly where to go, right, to get those meals, even school updates, that way they can feel connected with the rest of the school population. And open lines of communication also provide an opportunity to get feedback, right? So in thinking about kids can provide feedback on the meals that they're receiving, and that way the meals that children enjoy can be the ones that are showcased. Other things that can be communicated to families include nutrition information, such as having recipes that contain that nutrition information, and anything related to MyPlate and the dietary contribution. Nutrition-based activities, thinking of handouts that can be also included in those mailboxes, right? Sort of like health-based activities such as gardening tips and tricks, physical activity flashcards, and even a water challenge chart that families can do a water challenge together just to make sure that they're staying hydrated. So in thinking and talking about water, you know, here's a spotlight on increasing water availability in schools. So just a second ago, I talked about how proper nutrition includes getting that adequate amount of water each day. And Healthier Generation and the CDC have developed a set of resources that offer recommendations for making water accessible at school as well as at home. So that first one on the left, which is titled Increasing Drinking Water Availability in Schools, that one is to help with drinking water or helping students increase their water consumption at school. And the second resource is a set of micro-learning videos, and that provides steps schools can take to help students drink more water during the day by highlighting the importance of drinking water, water safety, ensuring water access, as well as promoting drinking water throughout the day. I will now go ahead and turn it over to Abby, who will share about schools and communities.
Josephine, and as we just shared, our schools and communities play such a big role in getting kids fed and being the foundational support in terms of helping them cook at home. So it reminds me of this quote by Dr. Cameron Jones, and she says, if you garden, you know the importance of soil and the environment. And in the summer, I love to garden. Over the years, I've learned that there are two important rules I have to follow for my plants to thrive. Number one, a solid foundation is key, and number two, continued support is necessary. When it comes to feeding kids nutritiously and helping them to cook, creating that ideal environment and foundation to support kids in their journey is so important. Considering the garden metaphor, we can imagine food and nutrition professionals as the hardy soil, fresh water, and bright sun that helps kids and their families grow. By one, addressing essential needs, providing food safely to kids and families, especially during challenging times, is like the soil that keeps the root of the community grounded. Creating innovative solutions and uninterrupted and unique meal services is like the source of water that keeps feeding the community. And finally, the unique touch points with kids, families, and caregivers is like the light that maybe we cannot see, but we can feel the strong bonds in our community. And the combination of these offerings creates the opportunity for school or organizational staff to reinforce best practices through the following strategies and tips. The first being the importance of prioritizing staff wellness. And this includes both physical and psychological wellness. To put it simply, happy, healthy kids start with happy, healthy adults. We always say that at HG. CDC offers a great resource for school nutrition professionals and volunteers about safety and best practices during COVID-19, and it includes action-oriented steps for reducing transmission and just maintaining a healthy work environment and business operations. With regard to psychological safety and mental health, this means that people can show up to work in their most authentic selves, feeling like they can be that way without any fear of repercussions or consequences. Healthier Generation has developed a two-part training for food and nutrition service professionals on how to foster a culture of wellness, gratitude, and self-care. And we will share these resources following today's webinar. As mentioned earlier, another best practice we do not want to lose track of is food safety. When students have an array of offerings when it comes to how they receive food, it's really important best practice just to reinforce food safety information, especially preparation, storage, etc. USDA has a great activity book that can be shared online or printed. Families can try it out and post the guidance somewhere in the kitchen as a reminder for kids when they're cooking. As Katie mentioned earlier, it's important to think through the different needs and environmental barriers to cooking and eating safely. For example, kids may have varied levels of access to refrigeration, storage, or cooking tools, and I even see in the chat box there, transportation is another thing we really want to consider as well. Another best practice is maximizing participation in school meal programs. Josephine did a great job at outlining how school meals are an amazing source of nutrition. And to support and encourage school meal participation, CDC created this toolkit to share with families and caregivers. It lets families know that school is available, has awesome graphics, and some sample social media posts as well. Finally, when it comes to helping kids to cook, we want to reinforce the value of partnerships. And we acknowledge that schools, caretakers, organizations cannot do this all by themselves, and by creating new or leveraging existing partnerships, not only can we increase the opportunities for food access, but we can also connect with services that support kids, families, and caregivers at their root. So some examples I would lift are after-school programs can connect with SNAP Ed agencies and other providers that might offer cooking classes. Food service professionals can coordinate with food banks to learn more about current offerings. Or nutrition professionals can offer opportunities for families to give feedback through surveys or conversation when safe with your school community to learn if what you're currently offering is suiting their needs. Finally, to bring it together, it's time to make a plan that works for you. And we know that small actions toward helping kids to cook make a huge difference in the overall well-being of the children in your community. So quickly, while we have 1 minute, I would just encourage you to use the chat box. What is one strategy that you'll take or incorporate into your work this month? And something that we love to share is when you're making a plan, keep in mind that having a success buddy can help you stay accountable, and think about who that person might be. So as we close out today's session, I just want to share this reminder. We do have tons of resources that we shared today, and they will all be linked and shared in the PowerPoint and follow-up email. And as we close out, we kindly ask that you please click the link in the chat box that the HG host will share. That is our survey to tell us what you thought about today's session. We really, really appreciate your input, and your time is so valuable. Thank you so much for choosing your time today with Healthier Generation and Common Threads. And we hope you all have a healthy rest of the day. Thank you so much.